Breaking news today in the NFL. They got your boy real busy, but this time we hearing from Adam Schefter that quarterback Aaron Rodgers is expected to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers and attend mandatory minicamp. Y'all know we gonna talk about it and break it all down right after this.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into another episode of NFL Central, your number one spot for everything NFL. I am Bobby, and I'm holding it down for this episode. So if you're tuned in with me, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It was first reported by Gary Dulac and then backed up by Adam Schefter that Aaron Rodgers has informed the Steelers he plans to sign a contract and attend minicamp next week per his sources. And then Adam Schefter went on to back that up to say that Aaron Rodgers plans to fly to Pittsburgh this week and participate in the Steelers' mandatory minicamp. Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Hey, I noticed the Steelers have a sign of relief right now and not having to go into this type of situation with Mason Rudolph. But hey, it is what it is. They get their guy. They had to sit on the sideline and wait. We'll see what the contract looks like, but it is what it is. My man's Aaron Rodgers. Hey, he said that he out here, he ready to play, and he took some shots at some teams this just I think like a week or two ago, were pretty much saying, hey, he ready to play against a couple teams and go ahead and see what the Steelers are necessarily made of. Now, how does it necessarily look when it comes to how the Steelers will look? I still have my questions. I understand you got DK Metcalf and him and Aaron Rodgers. They did a little bit of working out together, so that's good for them. But then you just had an injury that was suffered to your tight end, so he's going to be out there. You're looking for some more tight end help. You had some rumblings that the Steelers have reached out to the Atlanta Falcons in regards to Kyle Pitts. I haven't heard anything. Me personally, I don't even know why the Atlanta Falcons would even consider doing that. That will be absolutely stupid in my mind to take another weapon away from your young quarterback in Michael Penix Jr. So that doesn't make sense. Aaron Rodgers is looking like he's going to have to work with Roman Wilson out of Michigan, and it's going into his second year as a wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, simply because the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't do a great job in this year's draft, in my personal opinion, adding on to their offense. So it is what it is. We'll see what those draft picks look like, man. Then, in the draft picks, Derek Harmon. They picked up a running back and Caleb Johnson out of Iowa, which was pretty damn nice. But, no wide receivers whatsoever being selected in this year's draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we'll see. I'm not so high on it. I think it's good for the Pittsburgh Steelers and their sake. And for the last few weeks and months, me and my man Stevo, we've been talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers and how they looking like boneheads right now and making a lot of crazy decisions with not properly addressing their quarterback situation. But hey, they get to run with it. Now you get to still have Mason Rudolph in the building. You get the quarterback that you had some patience for, and you'll see how Will Howard can potentially grow for years and years to come behind Aaron Rodgers. So it is what it is. But it's going to be very, very interesting in what Adam Schefter is calling Aaron Rodgers' revenge tour. Starting week 1, he plays the Jets. That's a revenge game for Aaron Rodgers and a revenge game for Justin Fields. You know the lights are going to be bright for that. Then they're talking about the Seattle Seahawks at the Steelers. You're talking about the Vikings at the Steelers in week 4. The Packers at the Steelers in week 8, which is going to be a very interesting game as well. Then you got the Bears in the Steelers in week 12, and then the Lions in the Steelers in week 16. So a really interesting slate of games that are going to be out there for Aaron Rodgers and some of the teams he used to match up with more frequently, during his time in Green Bay. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be some good football to watch. but I'm definitely not expecting nothing crazy to come out of Pittsburgh. Me personally, he can very well exceed all expectations that I have placed on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right now, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers finishing third within their division. Really was close to putting them fourth before he signed, but now I'll go ahead and have them slated at 3 within the division, simply because I think the Cincinnati Bengals, despite all their stuff on the defensive side of the ball, still will be a lot more explosive and better than them offensively. And come on, guys. Did y'all think I was going to put anybody over the Baltimore Ravens, at least in the AFC North, excuse me. So it's going to be fun to watch to see what happens with this, man, and see what transpires out of this. And I hope it works in favor of the Steelers. I really do. Because we seen the Jets, they had a good defense, and nothing really transpired out of that. I'm just saying, Aaron Rodgers started to show his best work when the season was pretty much lost for the Jets. So can my man's Aaron Rodgers get his stuff together and give those Pittsburgh Steelers fans a little bit of hope? Maybe. Can he turn back the clock? Maybe. But I'm not too confident in that, to say the least. I'll be honest with you. I'm not too confident in that, simply because I don't know why people act like Aaron Rodgers has turned back the clock to, you know what I'm saying, those Green Bay days, to where he was really cooking mugs, but then honestly just somehow forget about how the tenure in Green Bay ended with those last 3 seasons in Green Bay, the injuries, and then the injury, you know, not his fault. His body broke down. Yeah, the last season, after everybody was like, he's coming back, the New York Jets could very well be in playoff contention. He let those fans in that city and that organization down. Hence why this offseason, that man, Aaron Glenn, was like, you want to play for us or not? And Rodgers was like, well, man, I don't know. He's like, all right, we're done with your ass. And I was 100% with that. We not playing games with you, bro. That's why it was so surprising to see the Pittsburgh Steelers just end up in this situation of just waiting and waiting and waiting. But I guess it makes sense for them now, you know what I'm saying? Simply because a lot of the offseason stuff has been like involuntary stuff. You really want to get your rookies acclimated to some things. You want to see how your rookies and your vets kind of bring it all together. And I was like, hey, when the hell is my man's going to show up, if he's going to show up? It looks like he's going to show up, and I hope that it works out for the Pittsburgh Steelers, simply because you got championship guys all around the team right now, especially more so on the defense. The Steelers have made some investments on the offensive line. We'll see if they are able to bring it all together. You'll see if DK Metcalf can be the absolute wide receiver that is necessary for them, but you allow George Pickens to where you trade George Pickens, and now that takes away from the weapons that you have. What if Aaron Rodgers said, I can't deal with 2 divas? I'm a diva myself. This is Aaron Rodgers. He said, I'm a diva myself. DK Metcalf is a diva. We can't have a trio of divas. This can't be the Dream Girls. This can't be the Dream Girls. What if he said this can't be the Dream Girls? What if he said this had to be a nice duo of divas? Now I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Now I expect Alan Lazard to get signed to Pittsburgh. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I think he's still out on the street. I think that my man's Aaron Rodgers about to start getting some buddies up in here to play wide receiver for them. That's just my personal thing. And then y'all can chalk it up to me having some, distaste for him since he's been a rival of one of my favorite teams for a long time and then moved on. So yeah, there's a lot of hate over there. But hey, again, I hope that the Pittsburgh Steelers are able somehow to figure it all out and give themselves a legit chance, because you couldn't convince me that you was ready to look TJ Watt in his face, Hayward, Minka Fitzpatrick, and a couple other those guys in the face and say, yeah, man, we're going into the season and we're going to bank on Mason Rudolph. You couldn't convince me that was going to be good enough, personally. But hey, it is what it is. My man Crimson in the building said, yo, greetings and go Bears. Jacob Pone tuning in once again. Oh, brother, dope fiend Aaron stinks. Raxon, I hope I said your name right. He said, as a Bears fan, I love the inconsistency of this man. Hey, just be as bad as you can when you face my squad. Stevo in the building, he chiming in from the other side, putting in and getting his money on. Old lame man. Hey, my man said he ready for revenge. For real. He talking about as a Bears fans, let's feast. Just check. We play Steelers at home in November. Revenge definitely on the menu. Hey, we gonna see if those Chicago Bears can pull it off. For real. Crimson said the Jets might actually be cursed. Maybe. We'll see. But when you got an owner that's impulsive and then strips the coach from all of his powers for trying to build a good team, and Robert Saleh, I'm not saying he was a great coach, but you strip him of all his power and you just bend over to the idea that Aaron Rodgers gets to decide. How does a quarterback gets to decide and has been mid, by the way, get to decide his own OC, get to decide his own wide receiving group whatsoever? Crazy work, if you ask me. But like I said, might have a little game left, might be able to bring some things back to the table. We shall see. Again, I think it's good for the Pittsburgh Steelers because they played the waiting game. But just me as a guy that has been crapping on the Pittsburgh Steelers and how they handled their quarterback situation this entire time, I'm not a big fan of it, so I can't move off of it and switch it until they prove me wrong by winning some football games. Just my personal evaluation. Later on today and even some tomorrow, while the discussion continues about Aaron Rodgers, I expect some bozo to go out there and say this is a Super Bowl contender. I don't feel that way. Somebody's going to say they have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. I don't feel that way. I think they could potentially be good, but I have to see it first because for the last 5 seasons, I've seen Aaron Rodgers do some good things, but then I also seen him do some really bad things. So I'm right in the middle with it. I got to keep it real with that. Even if he kicked my team ass plenty of times. But at the same time, I come to a realization, my man's been mid. That's it. For real. Tomlin and Rodgers ain't going to get along by week 7. They going to box. Hey, we'll see. They've been fond of each other for a couple years now, winking at each other on the field and from the sideline, having googly eyes for each other. So I hope that it's a thing that works out for them. I really do, because I think, and I'm going out on a limb, and I'll be there by myself. I will be there by myself. This could be one of those seasons to where Mike Tomlin doesn't have a winning record, personally. I believe that it was very, very strong with Mason Rudolph. I'm still on that heel by myself, personally, but I feel a little less confident in that evaluation simply because he still got a little game left. Not the greatest, more so mid, but you never know. You never know. I'm interested to see how does it work with Arthur Smith, though. Arthur Smith couldn't even get right with the preacher man himself, Russell Wilson. How he gonna get right with Aaron Rodgers, the prickly Aaron Rodgers? It's gonna be very interesting to say. It's gonna be very, very, very interesting to see. I think they still got a lot of things to work out. They're going to have to figure out their offense, to figure out the type of weapons, because simply the way that, if we're talking schematically, Aaron Rodgers does not like to run a lot of motions in his offense. The offense that he's a part of, he doesn't like motion, which is ridiculous to me, because I would think that if you want to run motion, that gives you an opportunity to expose the defense a little bit more and be like, all right, bet we're going to go ahead and kill these guys in the football aspect, because y'all just let me know y'all running man. Y'all just let me know y'all in cover 2. But he don't like running motion. So it's going to be interesting to see how all these guys operate and bring it together, simply because I don't think that DK Metcalf is the greatest route runner personally. So I don't expect to see a lot of things in the middle of the field. So who's going to be the middle of the field guy? Aaron Rodgers likes to attack, you know what I'm saying, some of those long passes. You see a lot of things going towards the sideline. So we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what type of offense that they're going to run. Are they going to lean more so on Caleb Johnson, the new running back that they just brought in there? Or it's going to be interesting, because I don't think they have a lot of weapons offensively to help, personally. I think teams are going to be able to key in on DK Metcalf, but I still think it's interesting. They get their guy. And we'll see. We'll see. My man's Crimson said, I love Tomlin, but Rodgers is radioactive. A lot of people feel that way. I was talking to a friend of mine who is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, like diehard Pittsburgh Steelers fan. He has a truck, and on that truck is Pittsburgh logos everywhere. You go in his crib and you kick it with him. He got the terrible towel hanging up. He got some pictures from when he attended games at the Steelers stadium. He's diehard through and through. I asked him about the quarterback situation, and this guy was just like, man, I don't know what the fuck we doing. His words, not mine. So his words, not mine. I'm just saying, I'm not the only one alone on this. But again, they get their guy. It's interesting to see, but it's better now than later, right? You get your mandatory mini camp going on, and then you go ahead and he gets to take another vacation and then get ready for training camp. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens with that, though. My man Jacob Pong says Grady Jarrett and Javon finna give Aaron Rodgers a pumpkin head. If you know, you know. But hey, man, I just want to tune in, man. The NFL got me busy today on my off day, chilling. So yeah, it's rocking and rolling. We definitely had those breaking news earlier. That frustration is going between Terry McLaurin and the Washington Commanders. So if you didn't get an opportunity to check that out, check that out. And yeah, y'all, I had to go ahead and do a video for the Detroit Lions and Trey Hendrickson. I think that'll be a good matchup as just a fan of football. I think that'll be a good addition. Got to keep it a buck for the love of the sport. I love the sport a lot too. So yeah, and then hey, we got this Aaron Rodgers news. So a busy day for me on NFL Central, but hey, it is what it is. I love it. Josh said, like the Steelers gonna do much anyway. That offensive line is still swing or miss. Not to mention you only got Metcalf to throw to. Very valid point. Very valid point. Yeah, I think that's a very valid point. Like I said, they made some good draft picks. You know what I'm saying? I can't lie. I think last year they had got Zach Frazier, I was really high on as an offensive lineman. And then they also brought in a couple other people too, if I remember correctly. But it's all about bringing it together and how well can Aaron Rodgers work with Arthur Smith, because we seen how Aaron Rodgers worked with Nathaniel Hackett last year. So that was, terrible. So we'll see. Wu said Rodgers needs to retire. I think the Steelers getting a year or two. They're getting a year or two out of him, and I think that'll be it for him. He's just so damn up and down. You don't know what to expect out of this guy. So it is what it is with that. Go Bears, FGB, 95 days to Bears football returns. Hey, that's when football is back. I can't wait for football to be back in totality. Like, bro, it's the dog days. I've been finding myself watching Chicago PD, FBI, all these other kind of shows, because at night it's just so dry. I'm not a baseball fan. I cheer for the Chicago teams, depending on who in the playoffs. But then other than that, I don't watch baseball. And then I catch the WNBA games here and there. But I really miss football, and I'm going to miss basketball a lot. Josh asked me, do I think Nick Chubb is going to the Chicago Bears? I don't personally. From all the things that I'm hearing out of Chicago Bears camp, they are good with what they have personally. And I think that's how they should operate in that regard. I think that most teams right now, they're going to see what they have. That's all teams around the league. They're going to see what they have and those guys that are still on the street. I think by the time training camp comes around, that's when you will see more of the free agents get signed, because you still got a bunch of guys that's still on the street. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's around training camp. That's when most teams will get their guys in there, see if they can add on to the team. But right now they're going to go through some stuff. And a lot of teams are going to wait until they get pads on before they make decisions about free agency stuff. And that's what to just add in, that's why I'm looking at the Trey Hendrickson situation like, okay, Cincinnati, y'all really finna play this game? Cincinnati Bengals, y'all really finna play this game? The player you selected in the first round still hasn't signed his contract, at least until this point. I haven't seen anything. And then Trey Hendrickson, this is the most consistent pass rusher that you had the last 2 seasons, 35 sacks, 65 QB hits, crazy work. Come on, bro. Like, they won't even sign him. So it's like, bro, a lot of teams just moving weird right now. But yeah, I don't see a lot of movement. But with that Trey Hendrickson stuff, I see him potentially being traded by training camp, or at least by the start of the season. We'll see if they don't get a deal done. But hey, man, that is it for me, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of NFL Central. Before y'all get up out of here, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know how you think about everything discussed on this episode. And if you get a chance, check out some of the other episodes. Me and Stevo, we've been cooking up that work. So let us know how we doing over here, man. We trying to grow this thing out, and we can't do it without those that love football. So thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure you always love football, and I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. For sure.